Okay, to our other big focus tonight. Dr. Ketan Desai, the mastermind of the big medical scam, resigned today from the post of President of the Medical Council of India.
Well, the trouble is that he's been replaced by two of his close aides. One of them even faced a CBI probe. Simi Pasha with more.
Ketan Desai's resignation from the post of President of the Medical Council of India doesn't come as a surprise. The tainted doctor's underhand deals have been making headlines since his arrest by the CBI on the 22nd of April when he was caught taking a bribe of 2 crore rupees. After his resignation, Dr. Ketan Desai, the Vice President of the MCI, will preside over all meetings. But will that help clean the mess that Desai has created in the Medical Education Regulatory Authority? The answer is no. Nair, now the acting president, and Dr. A.R.N. Setalvad, secretary of the MCI, both are Desai loyalists. Ketan Nair held fort for Desai after he was ousted by the Delhi High Court on corruption charges in 2001. On Desai's return in 2008, Nair ensured that Desai became president once again. Dr. A.R.N. Setalvad, secretary of the MCI, is said to have passed files to Desai after he was removed in 2001. In fact, the CBI registered a case against him in 2007 and found him guilty of appointing cronies. Experts say the way out is to appoint an independent regulator.
The MCI is the judge, jury and the prosecutor. They are the lower court, high court and Supreme Court. So there was nobody else you could go to, and therefore they extracted their rents. So I think architecting the new regulator in a way that it cannot be captured by either an individual or a group is very important.
The damage is done. The diagnosis is here. Now it's for the government to cure medical education. With Abir VP in Bangalore, in New Delhi, Simi Pasha.
Well, that brings us to our big talking point debate here on India at 9. The question we're asking, is a cleanup of the MCI really possible, or is it time now to look at disbanding the Medical Council of India? Well, joining us, our full panel here, K. Sujata Rao, she's the Health Secretary, joining us from the capital. Also, Mr. Ajay Kumar, he's the Vice President, Commonwealth Medical Association from Patna. And Manish Sabharwal, Chairman, Team Lee Services, someone who's been fighting on this issue for a whole host of time. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. Ma'am, if I can first come to you, post this report, post Dr. Ketan Desai's resignation, the big question that's really staring us in the eye is that fine, this man has resigned, he's really sat over this complete fraud of crores, but he's being replaced by two people who were extremely close to him, who perhaps managed the fraud with him. One of them even faced a CBI inquiry. How is the Health Ministry looking at all of this unfolding?
You know, Mr. Nair is the Vice President elected by the Medical Council members, the Governing Council. So when a President, as per the Act, when the President is not presiding over it, then the Vice President takes over. So he is functioning as the President purely in that capacity. And so therefore, you know, so long as the Act is legal and valid, then they have to work in accordance with the provisions of the Act.
Ma'am, you're right when you say that
so
the MCI...
there is nothing that the government can do in that context.
You know, you're right when you say that the MCI is a completely independent body. It's an autonomous body, and it does elect its President and Vice President. But, you know, at some level, isn't the Health Ministry really responsible for this entire mess? Can the ministry really wash its hands off the entire corruption, saying this was a body, it was supposed to do its work?
Well, the ministry is answerable to the extent of not the governance of MCI. Under 10A provision, we certainly have to be consulted. The MCI is advisory in its capacity in that context. They have to take the prior approval of the central government for any colleges that are new colleges that are being set up, any new courses that are being started, or any new admissions that are being made. To that extent, they have to take the prior approval of the central government, and that's where the central government comes in. But the Act does not provide us any powers to set aside an elected body or dismiss a president or a vice president, even if he is doing something wrong. That's the law. That's the current status of the law.
Man, that is the law, but Manish Sabharwal, when you're hearing the Health Secretary virtually throwing her hands up, it seems. Look, there is a law of the land. There's a law with the MCI. It's an autonomous body. They elect their own President and Vice President. What do you have to say to that?
No, that's completely unacceptable. I mean, education terrorists or Nazis like the MCI and AICTE have tried to control quantity in the name of quality and basically created private ATM machines for themselves. So the MCI has to go, and handing it over to a vice president, you know, the lunatics are running the asylum now. It's unacceptable.
But unacceptable, then what are the government's options? Are you calling for the immediate dissolution of the Medical Council of India, and that is the only way forward, and frame a new act if it has to come to that? Are you ready for that kind of government intervention?
Absolutely. I don't think the government can outsource regulation. You know, even all of us who argue for a larger role for the private sector in education never ask for the outsourcing of regulation. I mean, we are over-regulated and under-supervised. Supervision of all education is a legitimate and an important role of government. And MCI has been created a private business out of regulating education, which is unacceptable. MCI has to go. The powers of MCI have to be transferred to whether it's the Education Higher Regulatory Authority of India or whoever it is.
So you're saying there does need to be a higher umbrella body. Mr. Kumar, if I can come to you, I know you're the